Furnished podcast. My name is Amanda.
And I am Amanda's mom, Vanessa.
I can't believe it is already 2026 and the holiday season is over once again.
Gosh, it's just so hard to believe where 12 months of the year goes, and how lucky were we that we got to take the last week or so and have a little family road trip.
I know it feels like we were crisscrossing the Midwest from, Illinois down to Kentucky to over to Nashville and back home again.
I know, and our boys, our dogs, were good as gold.
I know, we got to take our dogs with us. Thankfully, Hilton is a dog-friendly hotel down in Nashville, and we were fortunate to take them with us.
They could not have been better. The hotel could not have been more welcoming. It was really a fun time. And to your point, we are all about the dogs.
Yes, we most definitely are. We're very fortunate that we were able to find a nice, clean, dog-friendly hotel in Nashville.
So not only we are about the dogs, but we also love the music, but our family also really, 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 really loves the comedy.
Yes, we were very excited that we saw one of our favorite comedians, Nate Bargatze, in Nashville at Nateland.
It was so much fun. We were looking into what could we do in Nashville that would be fun other than music, because we certainly got to see and hear plenty of that. So we went to Zanies, where Nate started out, and they have a comedy show called Nateland, and it's just good, clean fun. So we thought that might be a great thing to do with one of our evenings. And you know how it works when they start out with the least experienced comedian, they work their way up to the most seasoned comedian, and do you think it was more than halfway through, a fella came out from Chicago, and so, we were having a good time when we heard Chicago, and so our ears really perked up, and then, what happened?
Well, then my brother Nick was like, that's my golf coach, and he had no idea that he did comedy, and so that was a very small funny connection that we made there. He also happened to be from Kentucky, which is where we were celebrating Christmas with my dad's side of the family. So it was even funnier of a connection, and we got to talk to him after, and my brother was like, that is so weird. And he's like, did you know I was a comedian? He was really great. Tyler Buckingham, go check him out. And then we got the best surprise of all.
And then, because you really don't expect like a major headliner to be at a little venue, and all of a sudden they announced, ladies and gentlemen, Nate Bargatze, and our table high-fived. I think there were tears. I was so excited. I hardly even remember what he said, but he was amazing.
He was fantastic. It was a really great way to end the show. And we got 30 minutes of Nate, so that was a highlight for me for sure.
Oh, me too. You can never get enough Nate.
No, definitely not. But we also felt that a great way to kick off 2026 was to talk about different colors of the year. So, Mom, I'm going to kick it over to you. We have upped our game here in 2026. We're moving away from word presentations, and we are moving towards PowerPoint presentations from Miss Vanessa Nunley. What? So she's
Look
going to take us through different colors of the year.
Okay, so I'm kind of proud of myself on the PowerPoint. I think I totally nailed it. So that was great. So, it's an interesting concept, the whole thing about the color of the year. Like, how could there be just a color of the year when there are so many different influences? And it is interesting to see when you're looking at the different paint companies that everyone kind of has their own theory and thought about that particular color. I think it's interesting, too, because just in work with through my residential interior design business, people are always like, oh, there's this great new color. It's really funny. They're not usually new colors. It's a color that has been existing in the palette, and it's one that they choose, I'm sure, through research and trends and all kinds of other things. But it is interesting to see everyone has their own take. So I thought we would jump in on just a few of the big ones. Okay, so let me scroll through. Here we go. Okay. So this year, just kind of a common thread were, I think they're kind of how they're describing it as like colors that nurture the soul. And we're looking at kind of two different areas. One, sophisticated neutrals, which were serene and elegant, and then bold hues, which were really rich and warm. So we'll start here with Pantone, and their color of the year is Cloud Dancer. And the way that they describe it is that with its expansive presence, Pantone's Cloud Dancer invites a space where function and feeling intertwine to build atmospheres of serenity and spaciousness, providing a refuge of visual cleanliness that inspires well-being and lightness. Kind of a lot of description to get to something that at the end of the day I think is really kind of simple. Oh, I think we should mention, what were you going to say?
No, I just would agree. It's kind of very simple. I don't think it's a lot of words to almost, it kind of just looks white to me, if I'm being honest.
I think it is. And I think what we definitely needed to mention was please check us out on YouTube, because we're sharing some images with you here today, so you'll have a chance to see the pictures that we're talking about. But we'll certainly do our best to describe them and what our feelings are about them. So, Amanda, I agree with you. It's so simple, just the white, and it's very minimalist, which is interesting. But I do think one thing they've done a nice job with is how they've paired the furnishings, that I think the pieces are very rich. So we're looking at two examples per manufacturer. So the first one we're looking at on the left, I agree with you, it's very simple. It basically is a white wall. And they both, I thought this is interesting too, the artwork is black and white in both images. Which I
also noticed that I was thinking it's so funny that even then the accents that were paired with it on both images are accented with black. The light fixture and then the art piece are both black. And I found that also kind of funny that it's popping so dramatically against such a light color.
In the simplicity.
Yes.
I think it's really screaming simplicity. I also like when we're looking at the second image there, it's an abstract piece of artwork, and it sits below, it sits above what looks like a buffet of some sort or a sideboard, and it really is a very beautiful, rich wood tone. So that really is very striking, I think, the way the wood tone complements the black and white, but again, it's almost graphic in its literal black and whiteness.
I think it's funny that we've used so many of the buzzwords already from the original slide that we talked about.
Oh.
I think it's already just funny that just even in our descriptions of what we're looking at, if you scroll back to that original first page, if you scroll up one more, to the rich, the bold, like those are already the buzzwords that we just used to describe both of those photos.
Well, certainly, and how they are using the wall color to enhance the decor.
Agreed.
So that was interesting with Pantone, just because of its simplicity. And then we're going to move on. I had actually never really thought about Etsy being a supplier, but I guess it is. It's an online store that would actually have a color of the year, given that it's not one company, but it is so many collected artisans that bring their interesting and unique products to the marketplace. And so here, what I understood was that they did a lot of research, and I think they even took a poll amongst the Etsy shoppers to come up with what they have determined for Etsy will be the color of the year, which is something they call patina blue. And their explanation is that patina blue is one of those shades that just instantly makes you exhale. Inspired by copper's natural aging process, it embodies the quiet magic of change and the way materials evolve as they're lived in and loved. The hue reflects a growing appreciation for pieces that wear in, not wear out. So I thought that was kind of an interesting way to look at blue and looking at it as patina really being aging and like just being worn with love. So I have a couple images here.
Wear in, not out. I think that's a phenomenal description.
I think so too, because when you look at all the things, I mean, some things like when you wear a pair of leather shoes, you wear them in and they get softer and more desirable and comfortable and more a part of you. I think that's
Totally
interesting
agree.
too. So again, we have two images, and the first one that I selected, I think the juxtaposition is very interesting, and you'll get to see it when you check us out on YouTube. So I'll do my best to describe it kind of briefly. You're standing in a hallway looking into another room, and the hallway has beautiful millwork, really, really heavy, thick door casings and crown molding, painted in white, so it's very crisp, with a beautiful light maple floor, and you're looking into a room that is absolutely saturated in this patina blue color, and it's so inviting. I think because you're looking through a doorway, it really feels like a destination. How do you feel about it when you look at that picture?
No, I would agree. I think you kind of were spot on with that description there. I think it's so interesting, the contrast of those blues then too, in the first room, and then looking into that second room as well. I think it's so interesting, and you're so right about that second room being such a destination.
It is, and I do love how they paired everything. As you're standing in what would be, I assume, a hallway, looking into the room with the beautiful patina blue, what's supporting it in the entry is a really dark, heavy piece of furniture, which again, I think it really feels like it balances the weight of that blue in whatever that room is, a dining room or a living room. So it doesn't feel like you're going from a very light space to a very dark space. I do think it has some balance.
Totally, and I think once again, just the boldness of the contrast in this photo of the colors, whether it's the dark piece of furniture against the lighter blue or the lighter blue with the patina in the two different rooms, just the bold contrast is very striking.
It's really quite lovely. I think they did a nice job. The second picture, and this is one I don't think you would necessarily think of on your own, but looking at it, you'll really understand how interesting it is. It's a bedroom, and the room is just absolutely wrapped in what to me looks like an aubergine. It's very dark. It has color. It's so dramatic, and there's an interesting gold chandelier, and yet the bedding, I just never would kind of really think to put the patina blue as bedding in an aubergine room. But it's really very striking. It draws you into the room. It feels so intimate. And best of all, it has a little doggy sleeping on the bed.
Something that I also love in this photo as well is two things. One, the gold accents from both light fixtures, which once again you have the gold accents in the first photo. And then once again you're getting the light blue from the throw blanket, which you have the light blue in the first photo as well. I think that's an interesting contrast, or interesting point with both photographs.
Well, it lightens it up a little, and I do think it allows for the statement colors to really be showcased.
Totally agree.
So I think that was very, very pretty, very interesting. Way to go, Etsy. So next we'll look at Sherwin Williams, and they're always a classic. And I thought this was great too. They're looking at their color as universal khaki, and it is described as earthy and timeless. This mid-tone tan is a reliable choice for common areas. It's a sophisticated beige khaki hybrid. Pair it with white for a classic look, or set it off with more saturated colors. And I have been doing this a long time, and some of these really rich beiges and khakis have always lent themselves to a historical palette. And here, if you look at how Sherwin Williams was showcasing this color, I felt like it feels so fresh and modern, and it doesn't feel old and historical.
I was about to say I'm obsessed with how both of these look. Like, I want my walls that color.
And isn't it funny, it's literally called universal khaki. It's universal khaki. That doesn't scream like amazing and fabulous, but while it's paired, it really is such a rich, beautiful backdrop to the furnishings. So in the first photograph, there's a chest, a buffet or sideboard, some really great wood piece, and I love that the wood piece is such a classic, beautiful material, and yet it's so interesting with all of the dimension on the drawer fronts. And then it looks to me like it's a very soft and muted animal print area, and you know how much I love the animal print area rug. And then of course some pretty accents. And again, we're bringing in the black and white abstract art, which just is stunning on this universal khaki. And it's got again the gold, which is very warm and pretty in the picture frame, and greenery, which is just lovely.
I think something also noted is that how great the walnut kind of wood tone looks against that universal khaki, because it's showcased in both.
Yes, it is. And so when you get to check it out, in the second image, it's a glimpse into a dining room, and there's just a very clean line, simple walnut table, and the chairs are kind of a gold velvet dining chair, so it's just so comfortable looking, and the room is so inviting. And I think that is the beauty.
I was about to use the word inviting for both spaces, because it almost looks to me that the first room could be an entryway of some sort in a home, or maybe even in a bedroom somewhere. But I would want to step into both of these rooms, and I feel like it's so anchored by the wall color.
I think that's a great way to say that. And one thing we should mention, and just from a design perspective, that your entry really is your very first opportunity to make a good impression. And so having a wall color and furnishings that welcome your guests and invite them into your home is an opportunity to express yourself and an opportunity to set the tone for the furnishings and the rest of your home and to tell that story.
Completely agreed.
So, okay, we are loving universal khaki.
Yes.
So we are moving on to Benjamin Moore, which is my absolute all-time favorite paint brand personally. It is my go-to. I have worn out 2 fan decks over the past 20-something years, so that just tells me where all the good colors are for me is at Benjamin Moore. Their color this year is called Silhouette, and as they describe it, it is reminiscent of tailored suiting. The elegant color weaves rich espresso hues with refined notes of charcoal. Indulge in hues that stand alone with incomparable presence, or pair with other colors for a sophisticated approach to layering. And such a major fan. I cannot wait for it. Everyone to take a look at the 2 images that we have here, and so again, I'm going to do my best to describe it to you. So this color really, it is exactly that. It feels like that beautiful combination of brown and charcoal. Both 2 colors that are lovely and gorgeous on their own, but blended together, I feel like they're going to really be a chameleon, in that you will be able to use accent pieces in both of those families, and it'll just complement beautifully as you're walking through the space. So again, in this image I selected, we are standing in a foyer with, again, beautiful white molding. And the white trim makes such a difference. Every color that butts up against the white trim. It's so crisp, and you really, I think, appreciate the nature of the color. So here we have the color Silhouette, and it's dark, and so it here is paired again with a light maple floor, which you wouldn't, I think that's a little bit unexpected, because sometimes I think with these darker colors you think of things that are a little bit more traditional and with a little bit of a darker floor, but the beautiful light maple again it's gorgeous, and it really just sets the tone for what you would expect in this home.
Yeah, I almost feel like the Silhouette color is just, to me, it's just like a darker version of what we were just talking about in that universal khaki. Just as obsessed with it if you're looking for that darker color, because I think it's giving that same anchoring statement that the universal khaki did, just in a darker way.
And you shouldn't be afraid of dark colors.
No.
I think oftentimes people really are afraid, particularly on walls, because it feels like you're so committed to it, but it really is just a neutral. And it's so rich and inviting, and it's an amazing backdrop. And when we get to the second image, you'll really see what a backdrop it is, because we are looking at a small gallery wall. And the way that the beautiful gold and black picture frames, they just pop off the wall up against the dark, and it's absolutely stunning.
I feel like people also are afraid of dark colors because they think it's going to make their room feel smaller, but I don't think that's the case. And in this picture that we're looking at here, I feel like it does such a great job with how the photographs on the wall then pop off. I feel like it also brightens the room then with the way the gold in the photographs then on the wall are these florals that have these very bold colors. There's reds, there's some whites in there, and they pop off of the wall. It is gorgeous the way it looks, and we'll be posting this to our social media as well so you can see it for yourself. But I think it almost brightens the room, and I think it gives the room more life.
It's certainly life and personality, and it's very interesting. I've always been a fan of color, which you know. I love these dark saturated walls, and a long time ago Dad and I bought a piece of artwork for our home from a gallery, and we brought the piece home, we hung it up, and we hung it up on a moss green wall and sent the picture to the gallery owner, and she said, "Oh my God, I only put artwork on white walls." And she said, "I cannot get over how much I love how this looks on the dark mossy green wall." And I kind of felt like, well, I know we're on the right track when the gallery owner loves it too.
Totally.
Totally. Okay, and then I think lastly, we are looking at the paint company Behr, and their color of the year is Hidden Gem. And they say that Behr's 2026 color of the year, Hidden Gem, is a smoky jade that shifts with changing light. The blue-green hybrid correlates with people's current interest in statement-making yet soothing colors that work as new neutrals. And I think that's exactly what we have been saying about these dark colors, that just because they're dark doesn't mean that they're not livable. They are still very neutral. And I think you're going to really like what I'm going to show you, the two images that I picked. Oh my God. And then, again, check us out on YouTube to see. The first picture on the left, I would repeat this room in an absolute heartbeat. Every square inch of the wall and ceiling is covered in this color Hidden Gem. There is an absolutely stunning coffered ceiling with really thick molding, so it's so architecturally detailed. And there's a beautiful fireplace. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Maybe it's like some sort of a stone, like something simple like a travertine. So it's very warm and beautiful, just in every square inch is covered in the Hidden Gem. And then the furnishings are a combination of lighter and darker tones. it looks like the sofa is dark in a blue-green leather is what it looks like to me. But then opposite that are two brighter gold chairs, and there's gold artwork above the fireplace and gold detailing on the cocktail table.
I think it's amazing. Also, you know, that's sort of my color right there. That's one of my favorite colors of all time. I think that is so me. And something that I am sure you are going to also talk about towards the end of this is that while these are all colors of the year, you should never just follow trends to follow trends. You should always do things that are still important to you and of your taste and, you know, make sense to you because you're investing in your own space. But, like, that's a room I would do. That's a room I would repeat 1,000 times over because that screams me 1,000%.
It's sophisticated and elegant and glamorous. It's just absolutely a stunning arrangement. And then secondly, and this is the first, everything else we've shown today, all the color has been on the walls, but here they have used the colored hidden gem on cabinetry. And so we're looking at part of the kitchen, and the cabinet colors, it's painted in this beautiful blue-green color, and how interesting that is as opposed to white cabinetry.
Yeah.
And, you know, in our house, we have green cabinets, like a beautiful basil color, and we've had that for 17 years, a very long time. And I feel like it's timeless, it's classic, it stands the test of time, and it's interesting, which I think is the most important, and an expression of oneself. And I think that was everything, so we say thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for spending time with us today.
Please subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode.
And if you have any questions or design dilemmas, don't be afraid to reach out. We're always happy to help.
And don't forget to keep creating spaces that are fittingly fabulous and fittingly you.